Gentlemen, do you mind if I just drip out for this weekly recap? Do you mind? We were blessed with spectacular football in this wildcard playoff round. I made my predictions. We'll talk about them. We'll talk about all these games. Let's get into it. By far the craziest game, in my opinion, was Packers-Bears, but there were so many good games. Packers-Bears was so nuts because at one point in time, it was almost inconceivable that the Bears could win this game. They looked horrible. Matt Laflur was being Matt Laflur and coaching really well to take a lead. And then we all remember that Matt Laflur is actually Matt Laflur, and he's going to choke the shit out of the game because he's going to take his foot off the gas, and he's going to stop playing to win, and he's going to start playing to not lose. There's so much to talk about this game. I know I'm dogging on the Packers, but really, Caleb Williams played his absolute heart out, and we witnessed, honest to God, one of the craziest throws I've ever seen in a playoff game. One of the craziest throws I've seen, even if it was a regular season game. But considering that it was 4th and 8 and Caleb Williams did this shit, okay, I am certified #1 fucking Caleb Williams glazer. You all know that, whatever. You can't do this in Madden. You literally cannot. Your player is not capable of rolling out left while right-handed and throwing a cross body while getting sacked, an absolute laser beam dot 30 yards down the field. It's not possible. You can't do that in Madden. And guess what? When Caleb Williams was coming out of USC, when Caleb Williams was super hyped up and people were saying he was overrated, this is why he was the first-round pick. Because Caleb Williams was the only person in the draft class who could do this bonkers shit. Seriously, he's the only one. He's the only one in the league kind of right now who can really do this. Yes, like technically every quarterback can do that, but Caleb Williams so consistently throws off platform, probably better than anyone. You can be pissed off about that all you want, but he kind of does. The irony with Caleb Williams is that when Caleb Williams is sitting, and that's sort of what we see out of Patrick Mahomes. The irony about Caleb Williams is when Caleb Williams is sitting in a clean pocket, he doesn't always throw the best football. I feel like Caleb Williams will have an easy, wide open check down, feet set in the pocket, and he just cannot throw that football. But when it's off-platform bonkers shit like this, he just does it. He's a fucking beast. But that's really not the story of this game. Now, Caleb Williams had a spectacular fourth quarter, but this is the story of the game. The fact that there was a point in time where it's 21-6, and the Packers have the football. And we're talking Packers have, at one point in time, a 97% probability to win this game, and they managed to choke it away. Jordan Love throws 4 touchdown passes and loses a playoff game. I'd be sick to my stomach. And you know what's kind of funny about all of it is that I would personally blame this game on 2 things. I think Matt Laflur coached an incredibly passive and bad second half. I think it was he does this so consistently in big games. Matt Laflur is always the coach who stops playing the really good football that he was playing and starts playing this like passive, oh, let's just wait till the game's over and see what happens. You know, he is the guy who does that. And obviously, Brandon McManus. I mean, you can't talk about this game without talking about Brandon McManus. And things are a lot different if your field goal kicker is even moderately good. But Brandon McManus, who historically has been a very good kicker in the National Football League, goes 0 for 2 on field goals that he absolutely should have made. There's no question he should have made them. One of them was kind of tough, a 55-yarder. But really, the extra point. Missing the extra point and making it so that your team cannot kick a field goal to force overtime. The Green Bay Packers gave up 25 points in the fourth quarter. The story of this game is McManus missing. It's Matt Lafleur mismanaging head coaching. And then, of course, it's Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams playing well. But Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams in Chicago looked horrible in the first half. Horrible. And this is where I'm sick to my stomach. Jordan Love gets a lot of shit, whatever. Jordan Love threw 323 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. His team was dropping passes. His kicker couldn't convert when he'd get him in range. Ugh. Now, what I think is interesting about this whole thing is Matt Lafleur. Matt Lafleur, as a head coach, consistently makes the playoffs, consistently puts up a good regular season. He's always had really good teams. But can you fire a coach for choking big playoff games? It's kind of like John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh is like a Hall of Fame coach. And John Harbaugh has always put the Ravens in a good position, but the Ravens have not had postseason success since he won that Super Bowl in 2012. And Matt Lafleur hasn't had the postseason success that he's supposed to have. So it's like, Do you keep your job for always bringing your team to the playoffs, but then underperforming when you get there? I don't know. Part of me after watching this game was like, dude, Matt Lafleur's on the fucking hot seat. That was not a well-coached second half by Matt Lafleur. Colson Loveland looked great. Caleb Williams looked amazing. And I predicted that the Green Bay Packers would win this game. That was in my predictor. So to be proven wrong in this fashion was kind of sick. I am the Caleb Williams Glazer. I said they weren't ready to win it, and they were. They were ready to win it. You know, you could always look back on a game and be like, oh, well, they only won it because Brandon McManus, they only won it. Blah, blah, blah. You could do that for every fucking football game ever. You could do that for every football game ever. How about Green Bay fans? If you're really going to blame Brandon McManus, how about you don't let up 25 points in the fourth quarter? 25. How about you don't do that? Crazy game, though. Crazy game. I don't want to dwell on the same game for too long, but I was wow. I mean, cinema. And you know what's crazier about that game is that came off the tails of this Rams-Panthers game. Now, Rams-Panthers was very similar in the sense that the Rams so clearly had the lead, were controlling this game, a huge percentage chance to win, and then all of a sudden, it was like, oh my God, is Carolina going to win this? The difference was the Rams closed it out. The difference was the Rams executed and prevented the massively embarrassing comeback, which is not something you can say for the Green Bay Packers. Los Angeles Rams, I think the big turning point in this game, the biggest turning point in this game, and I was very shocked to see it. It was honestly this. So you're kind of seeing the play-by-play here. I can't show you plays as I always talk about. The NFL will take the whole video down. Super, mega, ultra gay. Oh, it was 17-7. Rams are up by 10. And on 4th and 3, they went for it. I was kind of shocked. Sean McVay, to me, he's not I guess everybody nowadays is going for on 4th down always. It feels like the NFL has slowly shifted towards that in the last 2 years. Dan Campbell really sucked ass at it this year, but 2 years ago, it was kind of cool. Either way, on 4th and 3 here, they go for it and they don't get it. And instantly, with like a minute left in the second quarter, Bryce Young and the Panthers marched down to get a touchdown. So it was 17-7. They could have kicked the field goal, made it 20-7, then kicked off. Instead, they end up with solid field position, march straight down, 81 yards in 5 plays, and score a touchdown. Now, I think the most shocking team to me in this whole playoff thing has actually been the Carolina Panthers. They lost, okay, but I didn't give them any credit. They were 8-9. They looked flat and shitty against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I consider the Los Angeles Rams to be a great team, and the Panthers looked awesome. Bryce Young looked awesome. You know who was great? Jalen Coker. Hello. Jalen fucking Coker? I mean, this Panthers team took Xavier Legette first round last year, and then they took T-Mac first round this year, and the guy who steps up and balls out the most in the playoffs is Jalen Coker out of Holy Cross. He had a massive game. He was cooking them. I think the Carolina Panthers have a super bright future. But as far as the NFC is concerned, I still think the Los Angeles Rams win this and take it to the Super Bowl. I think they take this shit all the way to the Super Bowl because even if the Rams get that rematch with the Seahawks, I don't think they're going to drop it again. I just don't. So it was a good game. I think the Rams did not play well. For some reason, the Carolina Panthers have like this kryptonite on the Rams. But there was that crucial turning point, and Bryce Young played really, really well. I just think Carolina truly did play their best game, and they just couldn't win because this team is just not good enough yet. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you made the playoffs at 8-9. Imagine what this Panthers team can do next year. Imagine what it can do the year after that. I think it's a really good team. But I'm still excited to see if the Rams can go back to the Super Bowl because I would love to see that. These two games were so similar, except the Rams did not get clapped, whereas the Packers did, but they were both sin. I mean, what an incredible first slate. And then you take that straight into Bills-Jaguars, which was an amazing game as well. The craziest part about the Bills-Jaguars game to me, though, was the end of the game. It's a little bit hard to see from this Instagram reel, but at the end of this game, Buffalo is down by 4. Jacksonville has no timeouts, and they're on the 1. Buffalo all game long had proven that their tush push is disgustingly good. Josh Allen tush pushed like 10 yards to get to this point. Tell me if this weirded you out, though. Why on earth did they score this? They knew the tush push was a guaranteed yard. Jacksonville had 0 timeouts. They should have burnt clock here because you're giving Jacksonville, who has Cam Little, like the strongest leg in the NFL, an incredible kicker, either the best or the second best kicker in the NFL. You're giving him an opportunity with a minute left to go tie this game up and go into overtime. What I thought is that the Bills should have basically downed this ball an inch forward, burnt 40 seconds, and then ran 3 more tush pushes and gotten in. Now, clearly, it did not matter. This is, by the way, this was actually the 10-yard tush push right before that. Initially, they called this a touchdown. They ruled it back that he was down, which was the correct call. But as soon as this happened, like, okay, so now Jacksonville has the ball down by 3, a minute left, and instantly Sean McDermott's the happiest man on planet Earth because they literally just picked the ball off in the game end. So maybe Buffalo knows more ball than I do. Maybe McDermott knows what he's doing, and maybe my dumbass doesn't. But I was just so shocked. The Jags did kind of sell this game. If Justin Herbert threw a game-losing pick like this, he'd be crucified. Jags sold so hard. Cole Bishop did have an incredible game. But yeah, I mean, this is exactly what I said, though, when I was doing my predictors, and this was one game that I was right about, was this is just such a shitty scenario for Jacksonville. Jacksonville was the 3 seed. You're usually pretty excited to be the 3 seed because that means you're playing the 6 seed. The 6 seed happened to be Buffalo. Buffalo has the MVP last year quarterback, and they have a lot of playoff experience, which is 2 things that Jacksonville does not have. This was a very unfortunate first-round matchup for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but also, if you lose in the wild card to a team like Buffalo, you just probably weren't going to make it to the Super Bowl anyway, so I wouldn't be that frustrated. It was the thing that I was talking about earlier is the team that had the most favorable matchup was the Houston Texans, and they so clearly did. It was whoever got to play Pittsburgh was going to steamroll them. That's how I felt this way. That's not the takeaway from the Houston Texans. I still think the Houston Texans could make a very legitimate push because of how disgustingly good this defense is. But I do think that this defense also looks better against probably the weakest playoff team that was in there. That was Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers is older. I do like Aaron Rodgers to some extent, but the Pittsburgh offense sucks ass. Pittsburgh offense has all season long, Pittsburgh offense has not been good. They would randomly show flashes of being good. Bro, when Kenneth Gainwell, your one of 2 running backs, neither really being the bell cow, when he's your best wide receiver, there's something wrong. And like, that's kind of misleading because Kenneth Gainwell is a shockingly good receiver. For being a running back, he's shockingly good. Why are we paying DK Metcalf all this money? Why is DK Metcalf underperforming so aggressively? This was such a bad game on a DK Metcalf. Oh my gosh. I'd be pissed if I was Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers spent his entire career with immaculate with Devontae Adams and Jordy Nelson, and he comes over to watch old-ass MVS, DK dropping big passes. He's going to Kenneth Gainwell leads your team in receptions. You're not going to beat the Houston Texans like that. You know who looked super good was Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk has been bouncing around, never really been that respected of a wide receiver. There have been years where he was good, especially on Jacksonville, I think. Was that last year or 2 years before that? But he's solid. He's not the first guy you think of in Houston at all. I think everybody thinks of Nico Collins first and foremost, but Christian Kirk balled out. But here's the thing. Nobody needed to do anything in this game. Woody Marks had 112 yards on 6 yards of carry and a touchdown. The Pittsburgh run defense was getting annihilated. Aaron Rodgers throws a pick 6, actually, potentially his last throw of his career, which would be really sad. But the reality is that to beat the Houston Texans, you need a pretty solid defense and you need a really good offense. Because Houston's offense does not impress me that much at all. I think they're a middle-of-the-pack offense, but their defense is so good. It will be interesting, these next matchups, though, because I seriously think Houston can beat New England. I really think that this is a shitty matchup for the New England Patriots. I mean, look at this. The odds have it stupid close. Now, New England looked amazing against the Chargers. We'll talk about that in a second, but really, the Chargers looked horrible. And the Chargers missing Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater was so obvious. That O-line was getting decimated. This is such a bad matchup for the Patriots, though. Patriots are high seed. I know it's Drake May. I know all that shit. I think Houston actually wins this game. This is perfect for Houston. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think this will be an awesome game, though. I think this is the game I'm most excited about. The divisional playoff, Houston Texans, New England Patriots game. I think it's going to be really, really cool. Let me take this back, though, because we still got to talk about Patriots, Chargers. But yeah, Texans, Steelers, what do we take away from this? CJ Stroud and the Texans are on a 10-game win streak. They clearly can throw the football and run the football, and they've got an awesome defense. They are a serious sleeper playoff team. Chargers, Patriots. This was probably the only game that was like a little yucky. Just a little bit yucky where it wasn't the best watch in the world. Mainly, though, that was because Justin Herbert was in piss the entire game because his offensive line was getting absolutely blown up the entire game. But even that being said, it kind of scared me for the New England Patriots because the New England Patriots defense was playing so good and putting their offense in such a good position the entire game. And they really weren't putting together a good offense, and I don't think the Chargers defense is that good. I think they played well in this game specifically. They play better than they've been playing during the season. For New England to dominate this well defensively and really only put up they actually did only put up one touchdown in the fourth quarter late to Hunter Henry. I don't know. It scares me. It scares me for the Texans game. You know who's got a hell of a lot better defense than the Los Angeles Chargers? The Houston Texans. You know who's probably going to play a little bit better offense than 3 singular points? The Houston Texans. New England Patriots offense is going to have to play way better in this next game. But you just won a playoff game. You beat the Chargers. Drake May is doing his thing. Also was shocked to not see more Travion Henderson for the record. I kind of thought they were load managing Travion Henderson because he's like their young back or whatever, but I mean, it doesn't matter anymore, guys. He's not my fantasy GOAT because I already won the championship. I already won the fantasy championship. It doesn't matter. It's just an interesting thing that I've been thinking about, you know. Regardless, you get what I'm saying. 49ers, Eagles. Oh my God. This is by far my worst prediction, and it wasn't even close. And it's kind of funny when I look back on it and just realize how obviously biased I am because I hate the San Francisco 49ers, because I had to sit there during that NFC Championship and watch my Lions lose to them. It has clouded my judgment. Because when I really look at this game, San Francisco, despite all the injuries, put up a 12-5 season. That's insanely impressive. They did that shit with Mac Jones without Brock Purdy for multiple games. They have one of the best, if not the best, running back in football. And they have proven that their coaching and their scheme and everything they do, they can win really big games. And the second most important thing, Philadelphia has sucked major ass. All season long, they've sucked major ass. You made the playoffs. You didn't suck Cleveland Browns ass. You weren't the Tennessee Titans, but you're supposed to be the defending Super Bowl champions, and you're supposed to have like this crazy everything. And the offense for Philadelphia has been utter dog shit the entire season long. So when you actually zoom out and you're not a biased loser like me, you'd be like, yeah, of course San Fran's going to win this game. Of course San Francisco's going to win this game. They're playing better consistently all season long. Philadelphia might have won the Super Bowl, but they've been playing like shit. And guess what? Fucking A.J. Brown. Oh, A.J. Brown. Career bad game for A.J. Brown. I don't like to dogpile. I don't like to be that guy. I mean, he still put up 1,000 yards in the regular season. But A.J. Brown was unanimously, undisputed, the #1 complaining, wanting reps wide receiver in the National Football League. And you know what? That's like the wide receiver thing. I'm not even going to clown A.J. Brown for wanting the ball more, for wanting the offense to be better, because the Philadelphia's offense was trash all season long. But the fact that you do that and you put up 3 receptions on 7 targets and multiple in your hands drops, ooh, yikes. And it's felt like all season long, there's clearly A.J. Brown is very frustrated about something because there are so many games this season where we can look back and A.J. Brown is just taking reps off. Or A.J. Brown, like Jalen Hurts will throw him the ball and he's not even looking for it because he just assumes it's not coming to him. It was a very weird year for A.J. Brown. I'm certainly not going to blame this on A.J. Brown. We don't really blame this on anybody. I guess you could blame Kevin Patullo, who has very, very much struggled as an offensive coordinator. I think when you're Philadelphia and you just won the Super Bowl and you retain your Super Bowl quarterback, Jalen Hurts, you still have Saquon Barkley, who many consider to be a top 3 running back in the National Football League. You still have Devontae Smith, a former Heisman at Alabama. You still have A.J. Brown, one of the most physical wide receivers in football. And you have this stacked of a roster and a stacked defense, and you significantly underperformed like this all season long. Yeah, you got to fire Patullo. You probably got to fire a few more people than that, and I don't see how A.J. Brown stays in Philadelphia. I mean, do we think A.J. Brown's really hanging around? It's going to be interesting. But yeah, I had a bunch of Niners fans like talking shit to me on Instagram. Guys, #1, fuck you. Fuck the Niners. I'll still say that. But yeah, like, you guys are low-key right, where if I just wasn't so biased against the Niners, I'd probably pick the Niners in this game. Because as I'm watching it and I'm watching Philadelphia's offense struggle, I'm like, I actually already knew that. I already knew that their offense was going to struggle because I watched it all season long. Okay, I gave you the apology you were looking for, so shut the fuck up now. Oh my God. God, you guys are so far up my ass. Niners fans are so far up my ass, you guys. I talk so much more shit about so many other teams than the Niners, and you Niners fans are more up my ass than anybody, okay? Why don't you just enjoy the fact that I was in San Francisco when you beat my Lions in the NFC Championship when we choked it away? Can't you just enjoy that? Also, Niners fans, the Dallas Cowboys have won the Super Bowl more recently than you. Sorry. I'm pissed. Okay. So those are the playoff games. Now let's talk about the divisional round and what we think is going to happen here. Bills-Broncos. I like the Bills still. I think the Bills are going in the AFC. I think it's going to be Bills-Rams, so I'm sticking to that. Niners-Seahawks. Super shitty matchup for the Niners. Super shitty matchup for the Niners. They just played Seattle in the regular season, and the Niners couldn't put up more than 3 points. I think Seattle has a very obvious edge in this game, but I'm not going to sit here and talk shit about San Francisco because I've learned my lesson. San Francisco, to win this game, is going to have to pull some serious offense out of their ass, though, against probably the best or the second best defense in football. To me, it's either Seattle or Houston for defense, and that's a pretty massive spread. I mean, Vegas has Seattle winning by a touchdown or more, -7. It's just a really shitty matchup for San Francisco. But that's what happens when you play the 1 seed. It's supposed to be a shitty matchup. I think that's kind of what's funny about the AFC is I don't think this is a shitty matchup for Buffalo. I mean, Denver's the 1 seed and they have the bye, but I have Buffalo winning this game. I really do think Josh Allen and the Bills are going to walk into Mile High Stadium and take this W. I also don't think that having that bye is a good thing in football. I think byes are bad in football. I think you want to play as much football as possible. There's so few games. The fact that the 1 seed gets the bye, I really do think sometimes kind of sucks. Even for Seattle having not played. The good thing for Seattle is they just played San Francisco and they know they can beat their ass. Texans, Patriots. I have the Texans here. I really do. I have the Texans winning this game, as I've already kind of talked about that one. And then Rams, Bears. I do have the Rams winning it, but I'd love to see Chicago winning it. This one is truly probably going to be my favorite watch. I think I'm most excited to see this game because I genuinely don't give a shit. I think it's going to be a banger. I think it's going to be a super fun game to watch. I'd be very shocked if Los Angeles loses this game. I really do think a huge part of the reason that Green Bay lost that game is Matt Laflur. I think he choked that shit out of that game. I don't see Sean McVay doing that. Sean McVay is a coach that has been to the Super Bowl, twice in the last 6 years, and he won it one of those times, and now he's got a chance to go back. Sean McVay is such a good coach. And that Panthers game reminds me of that too. They really were choking that game, and they had a good chance to choke that game, and they closed it out because that's what good teams do. I don't think Los Angeles is going to put up a choke job like Green Bay did. So, getting out of this divisional round with how the bracket looks right now, I've got Los Angeles and the Seattle Seahawks playing each other in the NFC Championship, and I've got the Houston Texans versus the Buffalo Bills in the AFC Championship. Although I will tell you, a Broncos-Patriots AFC Championship would be fucking sick, because everybody wants that. It's such a historic matchup. I think a lot of people want that, but that's where I'm at. Okay, gentlemen, that's it for my recap. If you can't tell, my voice is shot. I got back from Vegas, and I did some naughty things, but it was a banger time. I love you. You're so handsome. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.